Welcome back, folks. I'm Phil, and this is Philip Dizon Podcast. In this episode, we're here with a seminar facilitator, a trainer for corporate stress management and wellness for building resilient teams and leader, Mr. David Montecillo. David, first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming over and giving us a chance to get to tell your story for our viewers. So can you give us a bit of a background on your story, your history?
Long story short, I was on a basic trajectory, okay? Then I met a teacher, and it wasn't the same ever since. Okay, I'm from LaSalle, okay, and I took business in LaSalle. So early on, I had this ambition, I think, or goal of after college, I would find this kind of career, and just follow that path. Okay, but then along the way, I met a teacher, and she taught me some things, which I took to heart. And then from there, life wasn't the same anymore. Okay, a full trajectory just split. Okay, so in a way, I was faced with a choice of following the usual trajectory or following this unknown path of where it's going to go.
I know, if I could just interject, Dave, I know you initially went on the traditional career path, right?
Yeah, try that.
How many years were you in the corporate world? You got involved with advertising, marketing, you were a consultant too, and you were also into banking.
Yeah, for a short time. Okay. All throughout there, I was just in those fields for not more than just 3 years. Okay. I decided to take my master's. Okay. But during my time of taking my master's, my MBA, okay, which is very business, very grounded kind of work, right? That's when I started learning from my teacher, okay, who introduced me to other teachers. And I was actually learning the academic side, business side, case analysis. And at the same time, I was going into the field of meditation, self-introspection, and all that, healing. Okay, so both sides I was actually entertaining at that time. Okay, up to a time that I decided, you know what? What if, like a very entrepreneurial bling or idea came into my mind? What if there's a business model here? Because I learned that nothing happens by coincidence. There's always a synchronicity. There's always a reason for some things to happen. We always meet the people who actually change our direction somehow.
As the old adage goes, there's no accidents.
Yeah, there's no accidents, although we suffer from the pain of the accident at times, sometimes. Yeah. Okay, but no accidents, and I decided, there could be a business model here somehow. Because in my time, at least in the corporate field, I actually observed that there is so much anxiety going on in those fields. And this was a time when it was actually normal. People said it was actually normal.
The rat race, so to
The
speak.
rat race, it's actually normal. That's why during those times, and maybe it's still now, there was a lot of incidences of alcoholism, even drug use, etc. Okay. So for me, I decided, maybe there's an alternative here. Maybe there's an opportunity here. Okay.
Talking about that, I think right now it's so prevalent to really get stressed, right? With all of this competition, and you want to really excel in your career and what have you.
Yeah.
And people really can get into that place.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of concerns about how to have a sense of balance and homeostasis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is what I've learned over the years, if I can just go into that. One of the things that causes us a lot of stress in the workplace or others, okay, is that a lot of the times we perceive that our work is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Our work is who we are, our career is who we are.
Your identity is sort of like based on that.
Yeah, your career, your network, your education, all the labels that we put onto ourselves, all the people that we associate with, we actually look at that as this is part of who I am. Okay? So that's the premise that a lot of people come into, and that's actually a source of stress and anxiety moving down the line. Because this is the challenging question I actually pose. What if all of that is not? Okay. What if you're just masquerading as who you think you are?
A role that you're trying to play.
Yeah. What if it's just a role? What if it's just a mask? You know? What if there's something behind the mask? Someone behind the mask with all these things that we play, all these things that we try to be, all these behind all these this persona who try to impress people all the time. You know, and that, based on my experience, can be very challenging at the onslaught. You know, at the very beginning, it can be very challenging because a lot of people think, "What, this business or this network that I worked so hard over the years to build up brick by brick, you know, all the overtime that I made. What do you mean it's an illusion? What do you mean it's a mask?"
At the same time, it will also be very restricting and limiting if your identity is just focused on a certain typecast.
Yeah, it can be limiting, but people don't see that. Based on what I've seen, people don't see that. Okay, they don't see it as limiting. They see it as, this is it. Okay, sometimes it can be limiting if they see it. Okay, but based on what I observed, this is just my own experience. Okay, there's this attachment to it. There's this addiction. I think the right word is addiction.
And sometimes, for the wrong reasons, you feel entitled because of a certain position and title that you have.
Which comes from fear. Fear of losing the mask. You know, fear of losing the mask because there's this fear of going inside and seeing who is behind the mask. You know?
And perhaps if you really identified yourself so much on that particular identity, then it can be a bit of a concern if it's not in the right perspective at that.
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of times, I think you know this, situations aren't perfect. Okay, even in the career pathway, personal life pathway, etc. Things are not exactly the way we want it to be. Okay, but then can we see that that's still part of the drama? That's still part of the mask entertaining itself. Okay,
Yes.
and a lot of times this is something that people don't see yet, and it's not the right time for people to see it. In fact, I don't know who out there, when they're listening to this, I don't know if people will resound to it or maybe even be challenged by it. You know? Because it's scary at a certain point. It's scary knowing that everything that I worked for, everything that I put myself to be, I label myself to be, is, you know, an illusion. It's not there. It's not the whole me. It's not the real me. Right? It's scary.
Yeah, and your path towards this inspiration that you had about being more spiritual in that sense is part of the enlightenment. Is what you're saying, that somehow you were able to find yourself introspecting and seeing the world in a different point of view?
I like to think it's part of my journey. It's not over yet.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I know, but then, you know, the trick is to keep on doing it. Okay, because there's always this temptation to go back. Okay, so it's really about forming habits, forming vigilance to actually keep on going. You know?
So it has to also be very structured and with a certain routine to be able to
that
carry
actually
on
helps.
the journey.
Yes.
To move forward and improve.
Yeah.
Constantly changing and
Yeah,
adapting.
it's on a practical sense. It's like taking a bath.
All right.
Right? You take a bath so that you're clean. All right? Can you imagine not taking a bath for a week? It's like, ew. Well, maybe in our way of life here in the Philippines, yeah, because we are a very clean people. Taking a bath is very, very important to us.
And also because it's a tropical
It's a tropical country.
and pretty
yes,
humid. But
pretty
if you're
humid.
abroad, you're
Yes.
somewhere in the Scandinavian, for instance.
Yeah, you
side
can
of
probably
the-
get away with it. But, you know, like the
Yeah.
habit of really just cleaning out.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right?
And so how does this practice of yours that you found in this journey of, I believe that it's very much an old philosophy, it's also very much into martial arts, right?
Yeah, martial arts is one of the pathways that I have to actually knowing myself more.
Okay. And what particular martial arts that really gave you that transcendence to having a better understanding of who you are?
It's not necessarily a style, okay, because I came from the karate school. I also have learned Tai Chi and Qigong, some Kung Fu, some Filipino martial arts, boxing, kickboxing. So it's not exactly a one particular style, okay. It's like the journey of integrating everything and finding out what suits me.
But in the exposure that you have and the learnings that you have when it comes to martial arts, in general, when it comes to self-defense, because I've also had my share of that since I was so young. Some of them, if I'm not mistaken, some of the philosophies of a certain particular martial arts, some are a little bit more in depth when it comes to meditation and finding yourself, practicing more of this type of philosophy.
Yeah.
Like for instance, karate versus Tai Chi or Qigong. With Tai Chi and Qigong, if I understand it right, it's more meditative too. It's not just self-defense and compared to other martial arts.
Look at it this way. I use the word traditional. Okay, every traditional martial art. Okay, I would think based on my own experience, has its own pathway of meditation. Okay, although they may not say it
or emphasize it
or
as
emphasize
much.
it,
Yes.
but through the practice you will get there. Through the practice you will get there. Okay, because in those physical activities you have to put yourself in a certain mindset.
True.
Okay, you have to put yourself in a certain mindset, and every mindset might be different for every art in the beginning. But as they move towards a space of mastery, okay, I feel every master, regardless of style, will share the same mindset. It's like everyone starts at different parts of the mountain, but as they go up the mountain separately in their own style, they meet up at the same place, one way or the other.
Yeah, they're almost like related somehow, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So for me, it's not exactly based on style. It's based on really experience. How long have I been doing it? It's not exactly the style will teach you this. It's really the amount of time, energy, and effort I put into it.
But certain practices, like for instance, when I took up Tai Chi and when I was in college in the U.S. in UCLA and that, I remember our teacher. She was a master, came from China, and then she was saying that when she got to America, I have to teach Tai Chi here because people seems to be so, the pace of life in America.
Yes.
They keep on pushing and
Yes.
very materialistic in a sense. So and very focused on the external
Yes.
things.
Correct.
So she was saying that's why I decided to teach Tai Chi here so that people will learn how to slow down and be more mindful of things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I feel your teacher, whoever she is, very wise. Okay, she was using her discernment. Okay, she was using how it will benefit the community. Where's the imbalance of the community? And there, she will now put the balance. She sounds like a very wise person.
And what I also learned in Tai Chi is that you have both the self-defense and also meditation, but having different kinds of meditation, like you have meditation of motion, where you see them, for instance, here in different parks like Luneta, where they have this self-defense movement, but that actually it's meditation in motion, right?
Yeah.
They also have the passive ones that is very famous for a lot of yoga practitioners.
Very good too.
More passive and sitting down with this posture for breathing techniques and what have you.
Yeah, there are many forms of mindfulness. There are many forms that we can get into mindfulness, and that's the beauty of it. Okay, it's not a box or in Filipino we call it decahon.
Yes.
Okay. Now, why is it not a box? Why is there not much of a standard to get into mindfulness? Because if you look at people all around, we have different personalities. We have different experiences, different education, different cultures, right? So the many paths to mindfulness is to answer that need. Because they're very different. Okay? One path of mindfulness might work for one person, but might not be for another. So it gives us the choice to actually go around and look. That's the beauty of it.
Interesting, yes. Totally agree with you. I heard that you have a brand called Satva.
Yes.
Can you indulge us a little bit more by explaining further exactly what it is? I know, the little I know is that it's sort of like a health and wellness place also, where you can have workshops about learning these things.
Yeah. Satva or Satva Wellness is named after our patron guide who helped us establish the brand and even the small modest space where we have our studio, office, or meditation center. Okay, it's very modest, okay, not too big, but essentially the brand or the idea behind it is what we actually try to, what do you call this? To honor, okay? Sattva comes from the word bodhisattva. Okay, bodhisattva is an Asian term that is a divine being or a Buddha who works for the benefit of all sentient beings. Particularly a divine being who comes very close to enlightenment, but does not enter into enlightenment. They actually come back to earth and help out in helping liberate sentient beings. Okay, so that's how we honor our brand as the way of the bodhisattva.
So, a bit more of a background about it. Is it like a Buddhist type of tradition? Buddhism or
Yeah,
sorts?
the bodhisattva comes from the Buddhic tradition. Okay, it's very present in, at least from the Tibetan perspective, also the Mahayana perspective. Okay.
So this is pretty ancient in that sense.
Pretty much.
Can you give us a bit of an idea how long it's been?
Oh wow.
Tradition or a practice? And
well,
where did it start? Or where was the origin of this?
Okay, the Bodhisattva way, in ancient sacred texts, okay, a lot of people refer to Siddhartha, the original Buddha or the historical Buddha, as a Bodhisattva. In fact, there were also Bodhisattvas present in his time.
So how old is this practice?
So around 2,500 years ago. It's more of a concept, okay, that there are divine beings out there who are working for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay. Either embodied with flesh and bone, or with no body and they're just beings walking around the earth, helping us in our lives.
You know what? It brings me back to. I hope you don't mind if I interject.
Sure.
Not too long ago, a few years back, before COVID, I had the chance to be with a friend, and we went to what's the name of this place in Rotterdam, in Netherlands, and we had a chance to watch on stage, live on stage, Richard Gere.
Yes.
You know, the actor.
Of course.
I heard was a Buddhist.
Yes.
With Dalai Lama. And I remember Dalai Lama saying that he was not there to promulgate any religion, but to talk about universal truths.
Yes.
And he was talking about compassion, forgiveness, altruism, mindfulness.
Yes.
So it sort of like reminds me of what you're talking about now.
Yeah, actually, in Tibetan tradition, the Dalai Lama is known as an incarnation of Chenrezig or Avalokiteshvara, who is the main bodhisattva in the Tibetan line. Like he is an embodied incarnation of Chenrezig. We call it a Nirnamakaya expression of Chenrezig or the bodhisattva. And you see it in his work. You know, he's actually trying to promote a lot of good things right now.
So part of their philosophy is that
Yeah.
doing things for the majority or the common good, so to speak.
Yeah, because the most famous bodhisattva is Kuan Yin or Avalokiteshvara, as I mentioned. Okay, Kuan Yin, this famous bodhisattva, Chenrezig, Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin, they all refer to the same energy. Okay, and this bodhisattva is known as the one who hears the suffering of the world. Okay, so you can imagine if you're a divine being and then you're looking on earth, and you're hearing all the cries of the souls on earth because there's depression, because there's feelings of suicide, because there's sadness, there's grief that's happening. Okay? So the Bodhisattva, instead of moving on into enlightenment or into the heavenly realms of bliss, decides to come back and help, because the cries of suffering of earth are very strong. Right now, when we're recording this, the fires in Hawaii, okay? The fires in Hawaii, there's fires happening in the US because of the heat waves. There's a lot of grief and suffering. Floods in many parts of the world. So the cries of the world are very strong right now.
And even, as catastrophic as wars, the geopolitics happening
Geopolitics
right now,
happen.
Ukraine and for instance, and
okay.
Russia.
During the pandemic, the cries of the world were very, very strong. Okay. So you could say that the energies of Kuan Yin are very, very strong right now along the planet. And it's not just her. It's not just the Bodhisattva. There are many, many divine beings helping out right now.
I suppose when it comes to other beliefs in religion, probably in the Catholic Church they would call it like the presence of angels and Jesus
you can call
Christ
them saints.
or what have you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Human
Similarly,
beings, human beings have this way of labeling, which is just fine. Okay, but essentially we can say that there are forces out there aligned to the divine, who are helping right now in humanity's journey.
and the challenges that we have to go through.
Yeah.
Which is good. They're supposed to be there to help, give us a helping hand, so to speak.
Yeah, supposed to be there to give us a helping hand, give us a little nudge if we need to, But that's where we are right now. And in Satva, our brand is to actually, in a way, do what we can along that line. Okay, somehow, one way or the other. Okay, we're not here to save everyone because everyone has their own journey. Okay, but whoever comes our way, and if we feel that we are the right person to be of service to this person, then fine, we'll try.
So how does your experiences and insights provide a practical way of seeking more spiritual life?
Wow, that's a big question.
Pretty broad.
Broad, yeah, no, that's no problem. Yes, that's a good question. So eventually, how do we make a spiritual practice? Is that it?
And the practical ways of having to, apply what you've learned and in these traditions that you're talking about to incorporate in the modern life of what's going on in our lives right now.
All right, a very practical way. Now, even if this sounds simple, it may pose a challenge for a lot of people, but still, this is something I still recommend. Know that everything that we are doing, it's part of the play. It's part of the play. It's part of the mask that we wear. It's not really who we are. Like we go out, we go to work, etc. We party, etc. We do all these things. But that's just the human part of ourselves. There is something within us that is beyond the physical form. And to recognize that at least once a day, that is the challenge. The real challenge is not to recognize it just once a day, but maybe twice a day. Maybe 3 times a day. 4 times a day.
So it's like being contemplative of the needs of the world.
Yeah.
And how does one apply that in a practical sense? What does one need to do? What are you teaching in your...
One way that we can do is to label how we feel. A lot of times we go through life and in work, and we got deadlines, of course, that's how the world works, right? So we're stressed out because the deadline is coming, our boss is ranking on us, etc., etc. It could even be a relationship issue, So instead of reacting with the feeling...
Or impulsively.
Impulsively, yes, correct, thank you. Label it. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling pressured right now. I'm feeling the blah, blah, blah. I'm feeling blah, blah, blah.
And how does one see become objective in all of this while it's happening to you? Do you have a practice or?
That's the practice.
So, but do you have to do some breathing techniques or pull
It can
out?
help.
I mean,
That
can you
can
be
help.
more specific about that?
Okay. One is to stop. Okay. Breathe. Okay. Feel your feet on the floor. Know that where you are. Okay. And then start labeling how you feel. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. Okay.
I know there are practices, right now that they call it grounding, where
Grounding,
you wear,
yeah.
you walk barefooted and what have you. So
Yeah.
how does one apply that if you're in your office and you need to really, like you're getting pissed off with your colleagues or your boss, and how does one get grounded?
Okay, very easy. Still think of your feet on the floor of your office. Okay, put your hands on your table.
Yes.
Okay, and just feel that. Just feel that. Feel your hands on and your feet. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, and then just label all the things that you're feeling. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. I'm thinking he's such a-hole. I'm thinking he's this and da 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 da.
And any breathing techniques? Because I know there's quite a number of breathing techniques out there. Do you have any specific practice that you?
Yeah, for very, 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 very quick, slow down the breath. Because when we're stressed out and anxious, our breathing actually becomes faster.
Right.
So remember, take a breath, slow it down. You inhale, then exhale.
Do you do it in the nostrils? Do you do it with the mouth? Or is there a number that you count or something?
Well, to avoid attention, do it with your nose. Because if you open your mouth in the office, people are going to be looking, what's he doing?
And I hear it's also very much, it's more effective at that. No? Some do, they count 1 to 4, for instance. They
Yes, they do
inhale
1 to 4
and exhale 1 to 6
4, 1
or
to
something,
6,
or a
yeah.
box breathing.
But
4
some-
inhale,
5
4
inhale.
holding it, and
Yes.
then 4 exhale.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're stressed, sometimes you're too stressed to count. You're too mired in the situation. So the closest thing that I can provide is just slow down your breathing. At least that you know what to do. Because when you're stressed, I find, and anxious, it's so hard to count. It's like 1, 2. What was that? You're still thinking about what's going on. But at least hands here. Slow down your breathing. Okay, you know what to do. There.
So more of a deep breathing.
Yes.
And then exhales the same.
Yeah, and then
Slow
once
it
you get
down
a little
as
more
well.
grounded, okay, that's when you can start counting. Okay, because
But on mentally, do you try to picture a certain scene or scenario that will
If you
also
can do
help
that.
you calm down?
if you can do that, okay, again, it really depends on the person. Some people are kinesthetic, so we give them kinesthetic exercises. Some people are visual, that's why we give them visual exercises. Some people are very audal, so maybe a mantra, an affirmation, or a hum will work for them.
Okay.
It really
Like
depends.
I hate you, something like that. No.
Maybe not that drastic. But it really depends on who is before us, right? Because one method, okay, may not be the method for the other person.
Yes.
So in the way we do things, we discern, okay, what will work for this person. So we listen, and then we observe the person. Is this person kinesthetic, audal, something like that?
What will work best for you?
Yeah, it's like a doctor. You go to a doctor's office, a GP. Okay, he's not going to prescribe the same medicine to you that he described the last 3 people, right? He has to listen to you, look at the symptoms, diagnose. Correct? And even if he gives you the same medicine as the last person, it might be different dosages and different times of the day.
That's the way it should be. Yes.
That's the way it should be. So acts of compassion, okay, has to be metered out with method and discernment.
I
Okay.
agree.
So that's actually the balance. In the way, that is also the way of the Bodhisattva. We don't just give compassion all out. Okay? Because I can give you a peanut butter sandwich as an act of compassion, but if you are allergic to peanuts, it's not going to be beneficial, right? Yeah, so I have to discern, okay, what is he like? What will be beneficial for him?
And all of this knowledge that you've learned and practices, you believe that we're able now to really be able to change not only how we feel at the moment, but also our attitude in life. Because I remember sometimes, not too long ago, I was with a friend, and she was the type that was very pessimistic, her outlook in life. It was like she always felt that she was always shortchanged of sorts. No? So everything was always so negative. And a friend and I, very good friends of hers, we were talking to her about trying to be a little bit more grateful and practice all of this sense of better attitude or more optimistic attitude altogether. But of course, you could see it in her that she's really having a difficult time trying to change, that kind of, or even accepting that point of view. So, do you believe these practices that you're teaching can slowly change one's personality? And then
Well, this is where I come from. Okay, I just share what I have and what I know. Okay, the services that we provide, that's all we have, that's all we know. We will give it to the best of our ability. At the end of the day, it's up to the person to act on it or not. Because at the end of the day, the person might be going through a process. Okay, and all we're doing, we might be saying something, but at the end of the day, it's up to the person.
that's so true.
Yeah, because I like to call it planting seeds. Okay, planting seeds. They might be going through some dark times right now, but if I share something with them, these are seeds that probably within months will bloom. Or maybe in a year from now, okay, they will just call us up and say, hey, you know what you said to me a year ago, it makes sense now. See, it really depends where the person is. So I don't expect them to change right there. Okay, if they do, fine. Sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes this.
And like you mentioned from the very beginning, it's really a journey.
Yes.
For the most part, we're here to in an adventure, so it depends on the chapter in your life and what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with all of these things that you've experienced with different people, learning your traditions and your philosophies, I'm sure you've seen a lot of transformation with a lot of your students who has gone through the workshop.
Yes, on various levels. Levels. People have felt, a lot of energy vibration going through their bodies. A lot of people got, I've noticed some people going through ahas, okay? A lot of people have certain aha moments and, oh, this is a lot to digest. I'll take it home with me and think about it, on various levels, okay? But for me, yes, I've noticed some changes, but I try not to keep track of it, okay? Because that's their journey. Okay, I just offer what we offer, and then it's up to them. Also, it's the way it also works is that as much as possible when we share these things, I try and step out of the way as much as I can. So that sometimes when I share some stuff, okay, sometimes I forget what I shared. Okay, which is good also. It keeps client confidentiality.
So David, earlier you were telling me about one of your intentions, I think, that's why you came up with this kind of a program in wellness school. It's also about the concerns that we have in society today, which is all about getting so much stress with the pace of life and all of the demands of how to compete and achieve certain goals in our lives. So how does it relate to your workshops and the practices that you have in your studio?
Okay. Well, the history of my workshops with my partners over the years goes into one word. Okay, it's silence.
Silence.
Yes, because we had the objective of bringing back the silence to the noisy mind that was happening all around. Okay, now if you look at it back then, in the 90s and early 2000s, there was so much noise. Okay, it still is right now. But
Perhaps
then
even more so now with the
even more so now.
technology.
Yes, exactly.
There's just so many information.
Yeah, so we noticed that, people, they were living a life of noise. There was so much noise inside that they didn't know how to manage it. It was already causing certain behaviors and sickness, etc. Okay, it was causing discordance in teams, in the workplace, etc. So our objective was to bring back the silence. Like bring back the silence within. Okay, so that's why we started offering workshops based on stress management. Okay, as simple as that first. Okay, because my partner back then, she was very, very good in a lot of embodiment and breath work, and we came from the same ideas, etc. So we were actually doing a lot of stress management workshops back in the day.
Okay. So this could be applicable to both the individual and in a corporate environment.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Okay.
Along the way, I added more things into my repertoire. Added more coaching involved. I added leadership principles involved. Okay, I added communication principles. Did you know that a lot of these things like communication, leadership, etc., team alignment, these are very important in the corporate environment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
But if the person is stressed, anxious, has anxiety, okay, they will not be able to listen very well. They will not be a good team player. And will you follow a leader who shows a lot of stress symptoms and behaviors, goes into narcissism and even bullying? Will you follow a leader like that? So ours is kind of like a foundation work. Okay, before you become a good leader, before you have good communications, before you do anything in team alignment or team building, whatever, okay, find that center first. Find your inner silence. Okay, and then work from there. Okay, that's actually the premise of pretty much all the workshops that I give. Let's find that inner silence, and then let's build on it, moving forward.
To be more introspective, in a way, because of this. Normally, we're so caught up with the external world.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to detach ourselves and have that. How do you say that? More, like I said, more introspective and. What's the other word for that? Oh, anyway. Yes.
It's there.
More contemplative.
More contemplative, or at least, because when you use this word contemplative, like that might not fly for the corporate environment because they have a certain languaging, right? Because, you go to work not to be contemplative. They don't pay you to be contemplative. They pay you for results. That's the hard truth, right?
That's true.
So the way I bring it in is to find your center, find stability. See, the words matter. Find your center, be stable first, and then move from there. Okay? These are the words that HR actually accepts more than being contemplative. Back in the day, maybe right now, maybe HR accepts more contemplative languaging or more spiritual, which is fine. But usually they like the word stability, find your center, clear your mind. What I like to use is Control-Alt-Delete for the mind. It's Control-Alt-Delete.
Okay, can you?
Control-Alt-Delete. It's in the computer. If there are too many windows in the computer, you press these three buttons, Control-Alt-Delete. So it kind of like reboots the system.
Yes, and that's what you're advocating too.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. Find that silence first. Okay. Before you move on into doing other things. It's pretty much the same way that martial artists do before they go into a match. Okay, they find their center first.
So for your workshop, how does one attain that? Do you have a program, or is it? Do you have both the more physical part of it and then the meditative side of it too?
Well, yes. It depends on the TNA. TNA is the training and assessment. That we have to talk to the HR. Okay, what's happening in your company right now?
Okay.
So that we can customize.
In the corporate scene. Yeah.
In the corporate scene, we also ask who are attending. Are they staff or management? Because each one will have a different languaging and focus. Okay, right? Is it for wellness or is it for a bridge to leadership training?
Right.
you know. So we can actually tailor fit the languaging to
Yeah.
fit, and the activities as well.
Just like team building, for instance, workshops. Do you have something related to that as well?
Yeah, well, this is my philosophy in team building. Be the first team player. Be the first team player, which means, you know,
That individualized.
yeah, it's like be a strong link first, then you link up with others.
Yeah, because you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yes, yes. So let's see if we can, you know, impart ways and means for the person to be silent inside, to manage themselves. Okay, maybe get some wellness down, make the link strong. Okay, then put them together. Okay, because a lot of times back in the day, I think it's already changing. Back in the day, it's like let's do activities so that we can work together. Okay, but here we advocate. Okay, let's look at the individual first. Okay.
Work on the individual first.
Yes. And then after that, you can just have one team building activity. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Get everybody together after that.
Yeah. Because if someone is already balanced inside, physically, mentally, psychologically, energetically, okay, they will work with others naturally. Does that make sense?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
totally agree.
Yeah. So it's about imparting with them basic self-management skills. Yeah. That's my view of, you know, how it can go into team alignment, how it can complement it actually.
And normally, how long are your programs running for?
It depends on
for a
HR.
corporation?
Depends.
Depends
Okay.
on the objective again.
Depends on the objective. It depends on the budget of the HR.
Yeah.
It also depends on the time allotment. They can tell me, oh, we can allot 1 day, or we can only allot 3 hours, or we can only allot this much time for you. Because sometimes I'm like in between or an opening salvo. Like we can start our leadership training with you for 1 hour, and that's my slot. The rest is someone else. Okay, or I come in and then it's 3 hours, but some other facilitator comes in the morning. You know, it really depends on the program the HR has laid out.
That's true.
So we're kind of like very malleable. You know, where can we fit in? How can we fit in?
Interesting. David, can you tell me then, what do you think from your point of view is the main reason or raison d'etre of all of this stress going on in our lives right now? And what would be the main solution for that?
Okay. Well, this is just going in general, if you look at it from a global perspective, okay. It may not be the only one, I admit, but this is just my opinion. It's not knowing our purpose. Okay? Not knowing our purpose. So that's pretty much something that can lead one to stressful thoughts, stressful emotions, etc. Because there's an emptiness inside that we're all trying to satisfy, but it's a dark hole. It's like a limitless hole. It's, yeah, you know. So because we have not filled it with purpose. Okay, like why am I here? What's my reason for being? Why did the universe create me? What's my job on this earth? Okay.
Your reason of existence.
Reason for existence. Because a lot of us don't want to entertain it, or are seeking it and don't know where to find it.
Or
how.
perhaps that's the wrong perspective on their reason of purpose and existence. That could be a big problem as well.
Yeah, yeah. You know.
Yes.
So it's pretty much that, okay? And I'm not saying we are all ignorant about that. There is, I feel, a movement with a lot of the population right now trying to seek it, trying to get in touch with what is my purpose, why am I here, what is my message to the world, what is my function in the world right now, rather than what I am doing, right? Okay.
And part of this practice and philosophy you're trying to teach is to really promulgate that, right? To be more consciously aware and transcend in that level of consciousness.
It depends, okay? A lot of people are not ready to hear that. Okay, a lot of people just want to have their stress managed because they have deadlines to do, so I want my mind a little clearer, show me how to do it. Okay, fine. Okay, but people who go deeper, we can go in that direction. Okay, what is my purpose? What am I here for?
Well, and sometimes I suppose to really be able to have the right perspective and the purview of things, one has to also practice certain virtues like humility.
Humility is a big thing.
Because sometimes, you know, to change, you have to first admit that there's something wrong, right? Because if you're not admitting that you're wrong, and then but you need to change, then you won't even try to change at all.
This is the way I would actually reframe it. It's like, let go of the fear of being wrong. Okay? Let go of the fear of being wrong. And that's already loaded. There's a lot of people who want to be right, who are scared of the shame of being wrong, because when we're wrong, we're actually shamed for it.
Admitting that we had the wrong perspective or something. Right?
Yeah. Or at least it's not even being wrong, seen wrong by other people. It's like admitting to ourselves that we were doing something else where we should have been doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. And nobody else cares except us. Right? So it's... do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like...
Yeah, I think with what you're saying and the things that you guys are working on, with these practices, you're able now to be able to see things more clearly, to be more mindful and aware.
Yes.
About how does one change to really adopt and find yourself in a different path, a better path at that, for yourself, for your family, for your community, and the rest of the world.
Yeah, so exactly that. You know, it's just, you know, finding purpose, finding methods of self-management, okay? Finding what is my function on this planet right now. Yeah.
To share more love.
Yes,
and
share
understanding.
Yeah,
right?
Share more love with the right method. Because love can be gentle, and it can actually be hurtful also.
True.
You know, because a slap can be an act of love. Right?
Like discipline, trying to discipline.
Discipline. You know, so being aware that love can come in many expressions, not just certain ways. Because in what I've learned, okay, the Bodhisattva or Kuan Yin can come in many forms, many forms. It can come in a wrathful form. It can come in a gentle form. It can come in a sweet form. It can come in a soft form. It can come in the form of dragon fire. You know.
So can you tell me a little bit about your journey when it comes to that? How did you change as a person, and how did it really affect you that now you're quite passionate about sharing your newfound knowledge, so to speak, to the world? Did it really transform you?
It's over a series of years of time. There's so many incidences of shifts. Okay, but if I can just collapse everything in, I think the key for me was just to trust and be open. Trust and be open. And that in itself is really hard to do. Okay, trust and be open. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and with that, I suppose one can be more adaptive and resilient to different ideas, and be more accepting of your situation and others' point of view. Because at the end of the day, it's really finding harmony, being mindful about if one has is more harmonious with everybody else, then perhaps we have a more peaceful and
well, there's a time to be harmonious, and there's also a time to be disagreeable.
Of course.
Okay, because too much harmony. Because example, if there's corruption going everywhere, to be harmonious is that everyone does corruption.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about also discerning. Okay, if these ideas that are before me that I'm okay, is it good for me or is it not good for me? Or just go to the person and say, okay, let's agree to disagree. That's actually part of it also.
Yeah.
You know?
Because there are certain people that's not compromising as well. So sometimes you just have to let it be.
Yes, yes. So love can take that form also, to disagree with other person. Okay? It can come in that form. A lot of people think that what you call harmony, it means everyone's together, etc., which is just fine, But there are times where you just have to look at the situation and say, okay, that's not for me. If it's for you, I respect that, no problem, but it's not for me.
Yeah, of course, there's certain limitations to things, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. So can you share with us a little practical technique that perhaps our viewers can learn from on how to, on what they can expect in your workshop?
Okay, this is a nice move. Just fix our posture. Okay, feet on the floor.
Okay.
Again, hands on the lap. Okay. And then just be mindful of our breath. So let's center in with the breath. So inhale, and then exhale. Slow it down. Very good. And then watch me, okay? We take our hands going up like this. Okay, like we're looking through telescope. Okay? And then inhale, exhale, opening the curtains, like you're opening the curtains. And then hands down in the lap. And then we do it again. Inhale, look through telescope, open the curtains. And then down. And then inhale up, look through telescope. And then we're doing here, when we're here, imagine all the junk that's in the brain right now, all the stress that's happening in the form of black smoke or something. And then inhale, exhale, declutter the mind. It's like you're creating space inside your mind. Then down. Then again, inhale, exhale, declutter the mind. And down. Again, inhale, exhale. Create space. Create space. Okay, one more. Okay. Inhale up. Exhale. Creating space. Exhale. And then hands down. And just feel our feet on the floor. Feel ourselves sitting on the chair. And just take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. And how was that? How did you feel?
Awesome.
See?
That was really interesting.
Yeah, so
David.
can you imagine if you do this before a board meeting, before meeting your irate client, before going to that stressful, or even after that meeting or after that stressful client, or some task that you have to do that, it's going to be stressful, So this is like a boxer, a heavyweight title boxer, centering himself before he goes into the ring.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, centering. Right?
Amazing. I really experienced it. I felt I'm more relaxed after doing that simple exercise.
Yeah. Relax, but it's not that relaxed that you have to sleep, right? There's a bit of focus. And that's what we want also. It's a relaxed focus.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that stance of Bruce Lee where, he's really relaxed, but you know that he can sting with a punch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
The art of fighting.
Exactly.
Hard and soft.
Yes, yes. Balance between both yin and yang.
So please, David, tell us, especially for the interested viewers, where can they find you?
Well, we have a website, satvawellness.com. You can email us from there. We also have a Facebook page, Satva Wellness. Okay, you can see our mission and vision is stated on our banner. So you can actually take it from there.
Well, certainly for some of the companies I'm running, we would certainly want to explore your workshops. And,
great.
You'll be talking to our human resource personnel at that.
Fantastic.
To coordinate.
Yes, and we'll have fun there. We'll have fun there.
For sure.
Yes.
I already know it. Again, thank you so much for giving us the time to in your busy schedule.
Thank you too for having me. I know you're also busy. Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you everyone. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.